Most people think the person who talks the most in an argument is the one in control. They are wrong. In fact, the moment you start explaining yourself, you have already lost the exchange. You are giving away your power, your data, and your emotional stability for free. But what if I told you there is a way to end a confrontation, win a negotiation, or disarm a toxic personality without saying a single word? Today, I am showing you the silence pivot. This isn't the silent treatment, which is passive-aggressive and, frankly, weak. This is a high-level psychological maneuver used by hostage negotiators and top-tier CEOs to shift the gravity of a room. By the time we finish today, you will know the specific silent frames that force the other person to backtrack, apologize, or expose their own flaws, all while you stay perfectly calm. To master the silence, you first have to understand why it is so difficult to do. Nature abhors a vacuum, and so does the human ego. When someone attacks us, our brain's fire alarm, the amygdala, screams at us to defend ourselves. We feel a physical itch to set the record straight. But here is the secret. When you speak, you provide the other person with fuel. Every word you say is a new hook they can grab onto. If you say you aren't late because you're lazy, but because of traffic, they don't hear the word traffic. They hear the word lazy, and they hear an excuse. The silence pivot works because it creates a mirror void. When you don't react, the other person's energy has nowhere to go. It bounces back at them. Suddenly, they are the ones looking irrational. They are the ones making all the noise. Let's get into the first tactic, the information vacuum. Have you ever been in a meeting or a conversation where someone says something slightly insulting or offers you a deal that is way too low? Most people jump in to negotiate immediately. Don't do that. Instead, maintain soft, steady eye contact, tilt your head slightly to the side, and count to 5 in your head. What happens next is a biological certainty. Because humans are socially programmed to fill silence, the other person will start over-explaining. They will say things like, "Well, we could probably go higher on the budget," or, "I didn't mean it that way, what I meant was..." They are literally negotiating against themselves because they cannot handle the pressure of your silence. You haven't moved a muscle, and you have already won the concession. The second framework is the non-reactive frame. This is for high conflict moments when someone is trying to bait you into an argument. Maybe it is a family member or a difficult boss. They want your anger because your anger validates their behavior. If you get mad, they can point the finger and say you are the one who is out of control. When you use the silence pivot here, you are choosing to be an observer rather than a participant. Think of yourself like a scientist watching a specimen. When they finish their rant, do not walk away immediately. Just look at them with a neutral expression. Let the echo of their last words hang in the air for a long time. When you do this, you aren't just winning an argument. You are establishing dominance through composure. You are signaling that their words do not have the power to move your needle. Now, silence is only a power move if your body isn't screaming that you are uncomfortable. If you are silent but your hands are shaking or your jaw is clenched, you have lost the pivot. You need to memorize a specific physical checklist. First, drop your tongue from the roof of your mouth. This automatically relaxes your facial muscles. Second, drop your shoulders. We carry our stress in our traps, and lowering them signals that you are not in a fight or flight state. Third, keep your hands visible and relaxed. Fists imply a threat, but open hands imply that you are the judge of the situation. When your body is relaxed and your mouth is shut, you look like the person with the most information in the room. The third and perhaps most effective use of this technique is the correction silence. This is used when someone tells a lie or says something factually incorrect to manipulate you. Usually, we rush to correct them. Instead, try the blank stare. When they finish their lie, just look at them. Don't squint, don't frown. Just look. After about 4 seconds, the liar will almost always start to walk back their statement. They will add qualifiers like, "Well, at least that's what I heard," or "I might be remembering the numbers wrong." Silence acts like a spotlight. It makes the other person's words feel much heavier than they intended, and if those words are lies, they will crumble under that weight. You might be wondering if this makes you look like a jerk. The answer is no, not if you do it with the right energy. There is a difference between cold silence and active silence. Cold silence is meant to hurt. Active silence is meant to lead. You are holding space. You are giving the other person enough room to realize they are being unreasonable. Often, the most charismatic people in the world are those who speak the least. Think about it. We lean in toward the person who is quiet. We value their words more because they are rare. By mastering the silence pivot, you stop being a person who reacts and start being a person who responds. Let's talk about the 7-second rule I mentioned earlier. This is the ultimate tool for negotiations or when you've made a big request. After you ask for what you want, whether it's a raise, a favor, or a change in behavior, shut up. Do not add a "but" or an "if that's okay with you." Ask the question and then wait at least 7 seconds. It will feel like an eternity. Your brain will scream at you to fill the gap to make things less awkward. Resist it. By staying silent after a request, you are signaling that your request is firm and that the burden of the next move is entirely on them. Most people fold at the 5-second mark. If you can make it to 7, you have the psychological upper hand. This technique also protects your peace of mind. Every time you get into a shouting match, you are leaking energy. You are letting someone else dictate your heart rate and your mood. When you pivot to silence, you are keeping your energy for yourself. You are staying in the driver's seat of your own emotions. It is incredibly empowering to watch someone try to get a rise out of you and fail. It's like watching a wave crash against a massive rock. The wave does all the work. It makes all the noise, it breaks into 1,000 pieces, and the rock just stays there, unbothered. As you start practicing this, start small. Try it in low-stakes situations. The next time a cashier is a bit grumpy, or a friend makes a joke that isn't funny, don't feel the need to fill the space. Just let the silence sit there for 2 extra seconds. Notice how it feels. Notice how the other person reacts. You will start to see the invisible threads of social pressure that govern our lives, and you will realize that you can pull those threads whenever you want. This isn't about being a sigma or a manipulator. It's about being a person of high emotional intelligence who knows that sometimes the loudest thing you can do is say nothing at all. Remember, the goal of the silence pivot is to bring the conversation back to a place of logic. When the noise stops, the truth usually comes out. People will tell you things they didn't mean to tell you. They will admit things they were trying to hide, and they will respect you more because they know you can't be easily rattled. Before you go, I want you to try a challenge this week. In your next disagreement, I want you to pick one moment where you would usually interrupt or defend yourself, and I want you to choose the pivot instead. Just 5 seconds of silence and a neutral look. See what happens. You might be surprised at how quickly the other person changes their tune. Thank you for spending this time with me today. If you found this insight valuable, make sure you are positioned to hear the next one. Use your silence wisely, and I will see you in the next one.